So a lot of times I'd be like not quite done with what I'm trying to say, and at the time that the timer comes up. So I'm just continue, and feel free to do whatever you want. So I was talking about Mars. I was talking about Mars, Pluto being like the main thing that's going on this week, and like at the end of that, I've started to feel like I had sort of like made it out to be kind of aggressive and scary and difficult, and didn't really offer any medicine around it. So what I would think about here is to like keep your goals in mind. So Mars does best when Mars has something to do, a goal to accomplish, something to try to achieve, right? So my go-to image for this is the German Shepherd in the house, who misses you because you're at work or whatever, and then with nothing to do, just like sitting around a like 2-bedroom apartment or some shit like this, like has nothing to do, and tears up furniture and puts toilet paper all over the house and like all the rest of that, right? Like causes chaos and destruction because there's not shit to do. This is a sheep herding dog who you've put into an apartment and left all alone and doesn't know what to do with himself, right? So that is Mars. So if you give him a herd of sheep to move around, to boss around, to like do shepherd shit with, then does a great job. Dog ends up tired at the end of the day, feeling accomplished, feeling like things is going well, like it's a smiling, happy dog now, right? So this is Mars. So if we can give Mars something to do, then Mars tends to operate a little better, right? So if one thing that can go on with Mars here, especially this Mars opposite Pluto, Pluto's going to be all like confusing and deranged, and like you know, the funhouse mirror is going on there, and so there's like something distorted or something that's maybe magnified in some kind of way. Like shit's going off the rails a little bit whenever we see Pluto around. A lot of times we'll also see power dynamics, we'll see rot or decay start to show up in some kind of way. It's the kind of thing where it's like nothing is more powerful than the mushrooms who control life and death. You know what I mean? Like that's the kind of power that we're dealing with that underground power that we see with Pluto, right? And so that is horrifying to those of us who don't want to decay or whatever, right? And so that kind of horror, when you mix it with Mars, gets to be aggressive and really difficult to deal with, right? And so then especially with Mars retrograde, Mars is going to be moving backwards. So this is going to be Mars sort of reevaluate. Anytime we see the retrograde take place, then the re words start to show up. So reevaluate or rework or reimagine or revise or any of that sort of stuff, right? So Mars is going to be revising the Mars thing. And so how are we going to make sure that we are in alignment with our goals? So whenever we see the Mars retrograde, you know, something people say sometimes about that is like the gloves come off. Mars, the rules don't matter anymore. I don't give a fuck. It's about to go down, and you can't tell me shit anymore, right? Like that's Mars, especially Mars retrograde, especially Mars retrograde opposite Pluto, especially Mars retrograde opposite Pluto in a trine to, and therefore empowered by a sun in Sagittarius who doesn't necessarily care about facts as much as it cares about narrative that suits whatever might be going on here. So in that space, then, you know, it's time to reevaluate the goals and all this. And because there might be some kind of major emotional situation that comes through that blows up in some kind of way that could be uncomfortable or difficult, or that could make you crazy in that Pluto horrified and therefore extremely threat sensitive kind of way. And so that can turn into things getting overblown and crazy. And so it might be a good idea for us to remember what the goal actually is. Maybe, you know, if we're in a moment of revision, then it's like, okay, do we actually want this goal? But even if we do want to keep this goal, it's good to think about, okay, so are we actually, the things that we are doing, remember that Mars is associated with action, the actual doing of things, not the thinky bit, but the actual doing, boots on the ground, hands on the thing, moving it around sort of stuff. That's what Mars is. And so if we think about, like, is this the goal? Is the thing that we are doing getting us toward the goal? And is this the right method of approach? So it's a good chance that maybe this is not the moment here. That, or maybe that's not what's going on. The example that I thought of on my way back here from the creek was Israel. So, so Israel is in this moment of like, feeling wronged by a terrorist attack, right? Like, so all of this is going to fit really well into Mars-Pluto dynamics, like feeling wronged or emotionally upset about a terrorist attack where there is terror or horror involved, like all Mars-Pluto everything, right? And we can expect that over this Mars retrograde period, Israel is likely to pop off in a way that will be very aggressive. And so this is a good moment to me, this seems crazy. Like if Israel's goal is to exist, then to start a war with everyone around might not be the move, right? So it questions two things. One, is the goal to exist at all, or is there a different goal? But two, if the goal is to exist, simply to exist, we have the right to exist and all that, then a method of approach might need some kind of rework. This, we'll see what ends up happening on the sort of like mundane and historical level. But what we as individual people can take from this is that even when you feel justified in the horror that you feel, it's still worth thinking about, is it worth the thing that I'm doing? Is the thing that I'm doing actually improving my goal or my position relative to that goal? Am I getting closer to it? The things that I'm doing, are those improving my relationship to the goal? Are they in keeping with the scale that is required for that? Like, like, do I need to power wash my shower? You know what I mean? Like, what is the level of power that I need to exert? What is the level of force that I need to exert on the thing that I'm trying to do? Would power washing be an improvement over what I'm doing? You know what I mean? Like, maybe, I don't know what's caked on there, but like hauling the shit into the bathroom in the first place and all that, right? Like, it gets out of hand. So Pluto likes to get out of hand. Pluto is associated with like extremity. We can think about extreme magnification, telescopic instrumentation. So like just telescopes in the first place are associated with Pluto. Also microscopes, the idea of taking a microorganism which is not visible to the naked eye and then blowing it up at such a level that you can see it. That is something that could be associated with Pluto. So that's super helpful in the moments when you need to get deep in there. One of the things that I always talk about with Pluto, if you've got like a strong Pluto placement in your chart, and it is getting in the way, you're like getting all emotional about things. Sometimes I recommend getting a research project, like find something to dive deep into, something to magnify to this amazing level that you can get intricate detail, that you can get to know it in a way that we might think about mushrooms as knowing the landscape, knowing the earth, the land community, right? Mushrooms are very good at knowing that kind of thing, at exchanging information, communication networks, all that. Mushrooms are great at that. Pluto has the capacity to do that kind of thing. And I wonder sometimes, I think sometimes about Pluto and who Pluto has, what kind of relationships Pluto has time for, or the way that Pluto operates in relationship. I don't know. I'm thinking about doing a Pluto and Aquarius joint pretty soon. I think, who asked me about that? I forget. Ryan? I don't know. I don't remember. Somebody asked me about Pluto, and I think it's time for me to talk a little more deeply about it. But that's what we got going on this week. We got Mars Pluto this week, and like, can we do a better job? I think we might be able to do a better job. I don't know what you think.